When I first heard about the Nokia Lumia 635, the first thing that came to my mind was bang for buck. Let's take a look at the 635 from Nokia. So with this phone, I'm going to look at the same thing that I would look at on every other device, just a few things to tell you how I feel about them and how the device has impressed me or not impressed me. So first of all, let's look at the design of the phone. You've got this matte back with the removable back cover. Pops off easier than I thought it would, but on video I see people struggling to get it off, and it actually pops off pretty easy. But it's a real soft touch. It's got the cutout for the camera and microphone, the charging port, and the buttons on this side right here, and the headphone jack on the top. The internals, you get the I believe it's 1800 milliamp battery, a SIM card, and SD card goes over here, and that's pretty much it. You can see the hump for the camera. Put it back together. Along this side, like I said, you have the volume rocker and power button. No dedicated camera button anymore, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing. It doesn't bring any downsides to the phone. You've got a headphone jack on the top, 5 megapixel on the back, little speaker hole there. That speaker is really loud too. Charging port, and that is it. And when you power it on, you've got a 4.5 inch display, which is really nice. The overall build quality and design of this phone is really nice. So features wise, you've seen now that on Windows Phone, if you've got Cyan 8.1 is on board, the status of the phone stays up top. So you can see I have LTE, my battery, and time. And if I swipe down, I now have a notification center, which just was way overdue for Windows Phone. It was really needed. Also, when you press the volume button, you can see now you get a little drop down for your ringer and your sound and media. So you can basically control the phones, control those things separately, which is something that I really was upset about, not being able to control my volume of my phone and ringer separately from the media app. So I thought that was something that's really cool. As far as the settings go, you can hit that from here also, and it'll take you right in. And it just takes you through the regular settings of the device. This is running 8.1. As soon as I take it out of the box, though, I got to update something about a carrier update. I didn't really pay attention to. I just updated it. But nonetheless, it does offer an SD card. That's an option that you have. You have replaceable battery, removable back cover. You can change the covers. I plan on ordering some other covers, but not at the moment. For the price that I paid, I'm content with this white version. I think it looks pretty cool. Pricing of the phone is where you get into the bang here. I paid $119. I got this through HSN, and I've been out of town, and so I haven't had a chance to get my hands on this, but I knew they were here when I got back. But nonetheless, I paid $119 for this, and it shipped to me while I was out. So I came back, and you get this portable charger here, 2200 milliamp battery. You also get a car charger, which is a nice. HSN always gives something free. So you want to charge the phone, you plug this side in and plug it into the phone, and then when you want to charge it, you plug it in here and plug it into a computer, whichever you want to do, and it works well. It lights up red when it's charging, and it turns blue when it's not charging, when it's finished, not 100%. So I charge it up, and I'll just throw this in the car or something like that, or in my duffel bag or something. But it's $119 through HSN, and through T-Mobile it's $170 plus tax. And HSN, there's no tax or anything, and they do offer their financing too, which you can do 2 or payments or 3 payments or 4 payments. Or you can just pay $119 straight out, and they'll ship it to you, and it'll be at your door. So there's tons of, and when you pick these right here, you can choose different colors. I just chose white, because they have pink and blue, and there was just something extra, so I just chose white to keep it simple. But the features of the phone now, as you can see, I have 3 rows on here, and this is only a 4.5 inch display, and that's an option that you can choose in your settings for the theme. So here you can turn it off here. I won't turn it off because I've got my tiles set the way I want, but when you turn it off, it drops over just to 2 rows. As you can see, you can choose any picture you want, and if the tiles have to be like the color of your theme in order for it to be see-through. So you can see the ones that are not see-through, like the Netflix, the Twitter, and all these ones are not see-through. But pretty much you can see I just have the same picture on my start screen as I do here, and it's got that parallax effect, and it really looks good. I mean, I think Windows Phone was way overdue for certain things, and being able to change your background to what you want or something like this is, you know, nothing new to other platforms, but for Windows Phone it's a nice upgrade. So first I want to talk about some web browsing. I've been doing a lot of web browsing and streaming, and it works perfectly fine. Let me adjust the brightness here down, because I don't know how this is going to look on the display for the camera. Let's go to low. And let me check this here. Yeah, that looks good. Let me check out the medium and see how the medium looks, because it's really dim for me. Oh, sorry guys. Let's see how the medium, yeah, better change it back to low. So I'll show you the web browser and how web browsing is. Now this phone has a quad-core processor, but it has 512 megabytes of RAM. So that in itself is something that is one of my downers for the phone. Sometimes there's a little lag when switching between applications, but the bad part is Windows Phone already has, depending on which Windows Phone you have, it already has a little bit of lag. Well, you would call it lag, but it just takes longer to start up certain startup applications. So that's kind of where you're at on there. Sometimes it happens, like when I hit the back button, sometimes it'll do it, sometimes it doesn't. It's just kind of one of those things that you know, you just kind of, if it happens, you just wait for it to resume and then you go on about your business. But this is how web browsing is, and I'm over at T-Mobile's LTE. I always try to surf over LTE to give you some idea of what it'll be like for you. Your LTE service will be different in your area, but at the same time, you know, you get some idea of how it is surfing directly over the web. So let's go to YouTube. YouTube is actually a little different now on Windows Phone, because you have your choice of whether you want to open it in landscape or keep it in portrait. So when you click on this, when you click on that video, normally it will just automatically rotate and force you into landscape mode. But now when you click on it, you can leave it here and you get a sense of the speaker. I have it on 20. So now you have the option to switch it to landscape mode. So you can fast forward and everything. You have the volume, and I think it's that's a good feature, because I don't want to install different apps for YouTube. But there's a lot of great YouTube apps out there for Windows Phone, but some things I just like to keep it for what it is, to save on storage and, you know, not spend money on things that I don't have to. When there's the default one can be worked around and will work. So streaming on here, web browsing is really nice. What can I say? I think that the web browsing will be a good experience for you for what you are needing done. So let me grab phone here, because I want to talk about the camera next. And as we know, there's two types of camera applications for, sorry if I'm off camera guys, there's two camera applications. There's a Nokia camera and then there's the Microsoft camera, and I did a test on both of these in another video on the 1520. So if you're buying this camera, I'm just going to take a picture. Let me change it back to change the brightness settings here, right, because I can't really see that. If you're buying this phone, you know, obviously you're probably not buying it for the camera, because the camera application I'm going to take a picture here. You touch the screen to focus it, and then you can take the picture. And it'll be a good picture. It's going to be enough. As you can see there, it's a 5 megapixel camera, so it's a little grainy, but you get the idea. So let me show you the Nokia camera. That was the Microsoft camera, and this is the Nokia camera. So you see there's a little lag opening the camera up, but nothing to frustrate you. It shouldn't frustrate you because of the price that you're paying for the camera, for the phone. So again, here you see the difference in quality, and I'll also have a video sample up today as well. But that's the camera. You've got all your regular settings like in the big time $500 phones that we have here in this $120 phone from what I purchased. So the camera itself, it'll get the job done. I found that in low lighting, I took some low lighting. If you kind of saw that picture of my wife laying on the bed, it was kind of only thing we had on was some candles, and I was just kind of testing the camera, and the picture came out pretty good. To my surprise, I didn't think, because there's no flash or anything, and it's just a 5 megapixel camera, which at one point was big time. But the camera will get the job done. As far as speed of the phone, well, we all know that Windows Phone is a very fluid device. Even though this has 512 megabytes of RAM, it's still a great phone, and it has a quad-core processor in this one, opposed to the 521. The 530 is launching, but I wouldn't pick up the 530 over this, because you get a bigger screen and pretty much the same specs. But while I'm down here, I wanted to point out it does have Wi-Fi calling. But speed of the device, it's really Windows Phone. Windows Phone is a fast operating system overall, and fluidness when you're working through the device. Now, how that works on different applications, that's different, and up to you to decide how fast you think it is. But like I said, speed, and that gets over to the software. The software itself is put together well. One thing I like is you get Office. You can see they have those Office links now. You get OneDrive and OneNote and separate applications. The PDF, anything that you can think of on Windows Phone is going to be good for it. I think it's well put together. I just think the software on Windows Phone, especially on 8.1, with these updates like this, things that should have been here, I think, a long time ago. But there were applications in the store to help you with that until it came about. But nonetheless, it's here now on 8.1, and it was way overdue. Like having the status bar there stay there, that was something I just think should have been there. I hated swiping down to try to find it. I hated having to control my volume of the phone, the ringer, with the media. I just, those were things that I don't know how they got that wrong all this time, but they fixed it now, and it's on par. And I don't think there's really a battle between budget Android phones and budget Windows phones, because Windows phones would win that hands down. The Nokia 521 was the top selling Windows phone, because you could now get it. At one point, I bought 2 of them for $100. That's just crazy. And this phone is no exception. Over time, it'll go ahead and drop down to $79, $99. You'll see specials, but I got it at $119. So I think that's a killer point, because T-Mobile sells it at $170. But I've read a lot of things about the phone being in competition for the with budget Android phones, and that's what they're doing it for. But to me, there's really no competition, because the budget Android phones don't run nearly as smooth as this, and a lot of them they have outdated software. The options just aren't there for true budget Android phones. The budget Windows phones that have come out, to me, almost destroy the budget Android phones. It's just no competition for them, because this operating system runs smooth on 256 megabytes of RAM. It's just you're limited to what applications you can get in the store, but that shouldn't deter a person, because they're slowly building things up to where 512 megabytes of RAM phones can actually get in and up to. So the last thing I want to talk about is the battery. And the fact that you have a removable battery is a huge plus. I can buy a couple of these, and they just ain't even sent this right here. This isn't really heavy, but it's got a little bit of weight to it. It feels pretty good. But just having the option to take this battery out and have a removable SD card. Speaking of the SD card, however much memory you have on your SD card is basically how much memory you have on your phone now. Check this out. The battery on this device, I believe, is 1800, and it lasts. Let me go to battery saver real quick so you can see. So it says I have approximately a day and 4 hours left, approximately, and it's been charged 11 hours ago, and I've got 72% left. If that's not a good battery and a well-balanced operating system, I don't know. That's a really long battery life for it to just be 1800, but it's not powering a 1080p display, and you know, the internals are balanced just right for this phone. The quad-core processor is there, but I believe it's a Snapdragon 400 or something like that. It might even be a MediaTek. I didn't even look into it, but as long as it was a quad-core, I was with it. But with Windows Phone, you really don't need a quad-core because the 925 is proof of that. But let me get back to the storage and show you. I've been putting all of my apps pretty much on my SD card, and see, store new downloads on my SD card. You can choose where you want to store them at. The phone comes with 4 gigs of memory, and it's 8 gigs of memory, I believe it is, but it's taken up by system files. Nearly half of that is gone as soon as you take it out the box. But I decided to put a 16 gig card in here. I was going to go to 64 because it takes up to 128 gig card. So pretty much now, whatever you have in your SD card slot, or whatever SD card you have in there, that's really how much you have memory on your phone, because you can choose to have all your new applications go to store new apps on my phone to SD card. And the way you would do this to get it going is if you put an SD card in the phone brand new, make sure it's formatted, and when you choose your backup from your last sign in on a Windows phone, it's just going to start downloading. It won't touch the phone at all, and going forward, it'll just always have all your applications on your SD card, which is great. And then when you want to move, if you need to move them back for whatever reason, just switch it back to phone. But there's really no need to have, if you have that option, which is something that people complained about in Windows Phone, you have the option to just have it there on the SD card. So let's put it side by side next to a couple of phones here. Let me grab some more phones. Alright, so here it is next to the LG L90 and also the iPhone 5S. So with all the things that are happening with the iPhone, there's going to be some great updates for it, but you know, this is what the screen looks like. So, and here's the L90. This phone is proven to be very solid for an Android phone. This phone now is actually $99. And, you know, it happens when you buy phones, you know, they go on sale, and unfortunately I bought it at 3 different prices. So that's the thing though, you take those risks from pricing. But the reason I'm talking about pricing is because this phone starts off pretty low to begin with. It just, the lowest you can get it now at this very moment of this video being made, which is July 24th, I believe, is $119 shipped. That's the lowest I found it. And obviously we know the iPhone costs this is a 32 gig, so it's almost like $800 plus with tax. And this one is $99 at the current filming of this video. But here it is next to these phones. So back to the budget-minded story that we tell is the Nokia Lumia 635, a phone that you should choose over other budget phones, so to speak, like the Lumia, like the LG L90. Well, I'm going to say yes, because again, budget phones on Windows runs completely different than budget phones on Android. I don't think that's much of an argument. So is the 925, is the Lumia 635 a phone that you should get if you want a smartphone? Well, I don't think at this point we can start saying that that the Lumia 635, this is the phone I'm going to give to my mom. Because people were saying that when the 521 came out, oh, I gave this to my dad, and you know, it's an entry level. Well, now the 635 to me is taking it to another level. And this is actually a phone that anyone can use because it's got the right size screen, specs are good, and it can hang with all the other big boys. So the 635 is a huge plus when it comes to smartphones. I think Microsoft has done a fantastic job on putting this phone out there at the right price. Now, T-Mobile's selling it again for $168 plus tax and shipping if you buy it online or whatever. So you're paying almost $200. But if you go to HSN like I did at the time of this video I'm filming, you can get it for $119 shipped. You can also do payments through HSN too. So bang for buck. I think this phone definitely. The only drawback I found was, and I'm not gonna say the camera, because you know I have other phones to use, or I have an actual camera if I want to use to take pictures. But bang for buck, hands down. I think that this phone, the only drawback I could find was the RAM. That's the only thing I could find back, because it created a little bit of lag, and sometimes it would just say resuming for about 5 seconds or so. Then I hit the back button again, and it would go ahead and it would go through. But other than that, I think this is one of the best Windows Phone experiences you could possibly get for your money. And smartphones, period, because everything is in here that's in the store pretty much, as far as applications go, that's on my Android phone and my iOS. So you be the judge. I give this phone basically a 9.9, and that's only because of the RAM. So what do you think about the 635? Did you get it? Are you going to get it? I will see you guys in the next one.